Hello! Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to In Between the Lines. And if this is your first time joining us,
Welcome.
welcome. My name is Zach, and this is my beautiful wife, Kate. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that all of us deal with in our relationships, and it's fighting. And it's specifically how to fight fair. So many couples that we have interacted with, worked with, friends, family, or clients, everybody deals with fighting, and because we're all human, we all make mistakes, and we all have, frankly, differences of opinions and perspectives on how we want to address different things in our lives. And so Kate and I have been together now for almost 14 years, and we used to not fight very fair.
You know, fighting doesn't come with, you don't get instructions on how to fight. When you're in the moment and when you're angry about something or frustrated, it just comes out of you. And it's typically ugly unless you're actually paying attention to it. And we fought ugly before.
A lot.
And it didn't work. It didn't go anywhere, and it wasn't resolved like it is today because we've learned how to fight. But it wasn't fun, and it put us in a bad spot, often, and I don't know.
I think for us, one of the main things that we learned after not fighting well, fighting dirty, for at least a couple of years was because we were never actually overcoming our challenges, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. We decided to sit down one day and actually figure it out. How do we approach one another in a different way so that we can actually not fight dirty and feel good afterwards, from the standpoint of hey, we actually accomplished something. We address an issue in our relationship and we're okay. We don't feel worse off than we did before or feel defeated because we once again didn't fix the thing that we needed to.
And I will say that don't try to have that conversation when you're angry or in a fight, because it won't work. Because the difference is the question that Zach did ask me, which when he wasn't angry, was, why do you respond that way when I get upset or when we're having a disagreement? What makes you do that? And it would have came out like, why do you do that? Or something like that if he was angry.
I plead the fifth.
Because he kind of likes to yell in his natural fighting state.
So like a lot of us, like any good Lutheran pastor's kid, Dad, I hope you're watching, I love to swear. It's one of my favorite things to do. However, based upon Kate's history, past relationships, and just who she is as a person, that doesn't work very well when we get into a disagreement. So my go-to in the past was, if I'm getting cornered or if I'm getting pushed against a wall,
because he's a pursuer, so he will go after.
Yep, constantly. If we had an issue, she wants to make it stop and she wants to walk away, and I pursue from room to room to room to room to room, which was awesome.
I do slam doors in his face, though, as he's going after me.
Not anymore, but she did.
I did. It felt so good.
But I would typically raise my voice, and then I love to swear like a sailor, or I used to. Maybe I still do, but I don't get to anymore. Not in the same way. And we would just do this for literally hours, you guys. Hours, because she would try to make it stop, and I would say, we're not finishing this fight or this disagreement or this conversation until we have a resolution. And what ended up actually happening, and I didn't know this till years later, but Kate would actually lie to me just to agree with me so that we would be done talking about whatever it was, because I was so persistent in it. Mm-hmm. And so, think about that. And this happens in some of your relationships too, where one of you just can't stop trying to uh, get to the bottom of it where the other person needs a break or they need to process. And because of that, they literally will tell you anything because they feel like they're getting interrogated. They just want it to end. And so, like, first of all, sorry again, because it was super unfair.
And it also led to more feelings of jealousy for you.
Yeah.
Because I was lying, then all of a sudden you were like, wait, I don't know what to believe. I can't believe you. And then I was instantly feeling guilty. And it was just this cycle. It was a cycle. We were caught in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So fast forward now to when we all of a sudden became super smart and awesome. No. But when we actually started to figure things out was kind of what Kate had alluded to, where we started to notice patterns in our relationship where, you know what, no matter what we keep doing, it keeps not working. So we gotta stop. We gotta make a different flavored cake, so to speak. So we're making vanilla. Let's make chocolate. And so the way that we did that was is we sat down and one day we started to figure out, well, how do we actually fight fair? How do we have a important conversation about parenting, the way that we're interacting, communication, you name it? How do we sit down and actually get to the bottom of having a normal conversation where this can feel normal?
Yeah. And so one of the first things that we did was we sat down and talked about how we naturally fight, which wasn't working. We've already talked about that. And made a list of like, okay,
The irritators.
Yeah. This happens and this happens and then this happens and I feel like this and you feel like that and okay, now we have that. Now we've talked through that and we've identified that. And that was the first step for us.
Yep. And so typically what we started to do was is when we were going to have an important conversation, such as like parenting, for example, we would sit down and we would actually schedule a time that we were going to talk about it. Because again, so many people are so darn busy, or we try to avoid the important conversations. And so we found that if we just scheduled the time, whether it was after we got the kids to bed, or if it was, on a Saturday morning before the kids got up, or what have you, that we typically would follow through when we had things on our schedule. And then the next thing is starting to practice those rules that we had started to set in place to see what worked and what didn't work. And here's the thing, you still get mad. You still get frustrated. You still feel a lot of those things. But what it makes you do when you start to set up those fair fight rules is it makes you kind of follow a rule set. So a good example I would say is when we go to our jobs, or at least when we used to go to our jobs outside of home, we have to kind of work in a specific type of culture, and there are implicit rules and expectations the way that you handle things. So if you have a problem with your boss, you typically, unless you want to get fired, are not going to like verbally assault him or her or start swearing or yelling or storm out of their office when you receive feedback that you don't like. But then when we come home, we do.
We let loose.
We let loose because we feel so comfortable. It's the only person I can actually, let my frustrations out or actually out on, which is one of the things that we actually had to start talking about because that started to happen in our relationship where if one of us was having a bad day and we were holding it in over here, then because it felt safe in our relationship, one of us would, and actually it was typically Kate. I just threw you under the bus for fun.
Nice. In front of me.
I'm just teasing. But long story short, if one of us was feeling like that, what we would do is we would start to unleash on the other person and let out the frustration that we'd been holding up. So that's actually one of the things that we started to talk about. Like, hey, that's not fair. Like, if you have a bad day, no problem. But let's sit down and you can vent. Tell me all about it. Happy to listen. But just, please don't take it out on me.
Yeah.
Because that was a tough thing.
Yeah, that was a tough thing. So what are a couple of your rules?
Couple of my rules, she kind of had mentioned it before, but number one, if you do have a bad day, don't take it out on me. And so again, I'm here to listen, but if you're having a bad day, just let me know. And if you need space, totally cool. And so announcing is like a big thing. And it's one thing that I like to talk with couples about a lot. Because so often, like somebody will come home, they've had a bad day, and then their spouse is wondering, what's up? Did I do something wrong? Because most of the time, we think we did it, right? We'll even make up a story about what we did, and then we're wondering, are we going to get caught? But a lot of times, actually, it's nothing to do with you. It's just something that your partner is processing through.
Yeah, so like, is this a familiar situation for you? Because it was for us. Sometimes still is. I walk in the door from work. Zach says, "Hey, hon, how are you?" "Fine." "Everything okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine." "And I'm not fine." "And I'm crabby." And it feels so much better when I can walk in the door. "Hey, hon, how are you?" I need some time. I've had a rough afternoon and I just need, it's not you. Just give me some space, please. And that feels so much better.
Totally.
And then I can take my time and I can come back and then I can be present and feel better and he doesn't feel like he did something wrong.
Yeah, and also if you have kids, it's like it's a great cue for you as the partner who's finding out that your partner had a rough day to be able to, maybe usher them outside, go to the park, play outside, but give your spouse a little bit of breathing room.
Speaking of breathing room, that's one of my rules.
It is.
I said he's a pursuer. He always has an answer. He always knows what he wants to say, to do, to happen. And when he gets angry, it's even more so. And I'm not that way. And so when I feel like, okay, something, we gotta talk about something. Ooh, there's something brewing here. Oftentimes I'll say, okay, just let me think about this for a little bit. Like, just give me a little bit of time to process it. I need a minute. And when we've said that, okay, this is a rule, I'll take my minute.
Or 20 or a few hours, whatever.
And then I have to come back. And that's a part of the rule, is that I can take my time, but then I also have to come back. And then we can talk about it because I've had time to think about it and process it.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think. Another is just like...
no yelling, no shouting.
Yep. No yelling, no shouting, which is a good rule for me. And again, it takes practice. But here's the really cool thing. This is the thing, one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about fair fight rules and conflict in general is that conflict is actually a really good thing because it's telling you that something is off, something is out of alignment, and it's like, your ears are perking up or your radar's like going off, and it's saying like something is wrong to me.
Yeah, like I'm feeling this way for a reason.
Yeah, so conflict is fine. It's the way that we handle it and approach it. But because we have been committed to actually having difficult conversations and learning how to be respectful and learn how to actually listen and understand the other person, even when we don't want to, what has happened now is that when Claire or Manny or Oliver are in the house, we invite them to come watch us. No joke. Like, we're sitting on a couch right now, and like Claire, if she was here, and let's say we were having a disagreement or a heated discussion of some sort, like, this is the way that we fight. And so she'd come down and she'd be like, "Mom and Dad, are you guys fighting?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Do you want to come sit down and watch?" Because this is what we do. Because one of the things that we're trying to teach our kids and what we're trying to model for them is that number one, conflict is not bad. Number two, it's important to address conflict. And then number three, how to actually approach it. Because approach is everything. And so if you are struggling in this area of your relationship where maybe you're avoiding, or every time that you guys get into a disagreement, it ends poorly, or you just get stuck, sit down one day, again, when you haven't been fighting, and talk about some of the fair fight rules that you would like to bring into your relationship. Because for us, it's been a pivotal thing that has been so helpful. And with couples that we have worked with over the years, these are some of the mainstays that have helped them continue to not only thrive, but continue to build on growing in connection and intimacy. Because the more that you can do conflict well, the more vulnerable that you can be with your partner. Because now you're not worried that they're going to react in a way that could be a deal breaker for you, because it's like, I know how Kate's going to respond, she knows how I'm going to respond, therefore we might as well have that difficult conversation and just talk through it. It doesn't have to be this big scary thing or elephant in the room that we know it's there but we avoid it. So anything else?
I think that was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah.
So hope it helps. Fair fight rules. If you have any questions, send me an email at ZacharyLee@lovecommitsucceed.com. Give us a thumbs up, and thanks for watching, everybody. All right, we'll see you next week for In Between the Lines. Thanks, guys.
Bye.